إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. In this Usul al-Thalatha class, after the author mentioned knowing one's deen and Lord, his deen and his messenger, he said, فَإِذَا قِيلَ لَكَ بِمَا عَرَفْتَ رَبَّكَ. If someone said to you, so now we go into detail, how did you arrive at the knowledge of your Lord? The answer, he says, فَقُلْ بِآيَاتِهِ وَمَخْلُوقَاتِهِ. He said, through his signs and those things which he has created. Then he mentions examples of those signs. فَقُلْ بِآيَاتِهِ وَمَخْلُوقَاتِهِ وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ فَقُلْ بِآيَاتِهِ وَمَخْلُوقَاتِهِ وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ وَمِنْ مَخْلُوقَاتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ السَّبْعُ وَالْأَرَاضُونَ السَّبْعُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا. From his signs, it's the night and the day, we spoke about that, the sun and the moon, and from that which he created is the seven heavens and the seven earths, and all those within them, and whatever is between them. وَالدَّلِيلُ, after he mentioned that, he mentioned the proof. وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى ومن آياته الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر لا تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر واسجدوا لله الذي خلقهن إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. وقوله تعالى إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار يطلبه حثيثا والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. So after he mentioned the signs, بِآيَاتِهِ وَمَخْلُقَاتِهِ, he mentioned the verse, the sun, the moon, the night, the day. Then he followed it with a verse. Why? Because those examples, like we said, are examples of intellect. And intellect alone is not sufficient, as we said. We use intellect, yes, but intellect backed and supported and derived from the text. The intellect must be under the umbrella of the text. And that's why he mentioned those examples, and then he followed it with a verse. We stopped off at the verses he used as proof. In the last part of the lecture, we mentioned about Allah's creation and how they are signs. We talked about that in somewhat of detail. So let's go now through the verses. The first one is in Surat Fussilat. ومن آياته الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر لا تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر واسجدوا لله الذي خلقهن إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. So this verse in Surat Fussilat, ومن آياته الليل, from his signs, from Allah's signs. Allah tells us some of his magnificent and great creations. Min is some, meaning not all of them. They are great and they are magnificent. And as great, as magnificent as they are, don't prostrate to them, because they are created and ordered by Allah, the one who you should really be prostrated for. From his miracles, from his signs, meaning from the signs of Allah, is the layl and nahar. وَمِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارِ. That's from the signs of Allah, the night and day. And we mentioned about that in the end of the last class. وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ. The moon and the sun exist as signs as well. لَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ. Don't prostrate to the sun nor to the moon, but prostrate to Allah, the one who created them, if you truly worship him. Now what the verse is saying, if these mighty, magnificent creations are his creation, if they're his creation, and they admitted to that, they're Allah's creation, they provide so much benefits, they go in such order and harmony that only Allah could have created it. If he created that, and you know that, Don't prostrate for them, but prostrate and worship for the one who created them. That's what the verse is trying to say. لا تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر. Worship Allah only and not any other creation. When he declared them not to make sujood, he said, don't make sujood for them. Don't prostrate for them. Now, it doesn't mean you don't prostrate for them, but you can go ahead and worship them. He used the term prostrate because that's one of the greatest ways and forms of showing glorification and worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is proof, like the earlier proof we took, is very parallel or like or very similar to the proof Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. There in Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen he said, if he created the universe, Rabbil Alameen, then worship the creator of the Alameen, the universe. Here he's saying, if he created the sun, the moon, the day and the night, then that's the Lord you need to give your full worship to. That's the first verse he uses. The next verse he uses, إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار يطلبه حثيثا والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. The first verse is in Surat Fussilat. This was in Surat Al-A'raf. So he's saying, Allah said in this one, إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام. Your Lord is Allah who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام. Now, Rabb here means, Rabbakum means the one you should be worshipping. في 6 أيام. في 6 أيام, he created it in 6 days. 4 days were for the earth and 2 days for the heavens. This is something confusing to some and many get it wrong. And Al-Qurtubi and others spoke about it. The 4 days for the earth and then there was 2 days for the heavens. How so? There's verses that may confuse someone. In one of the verses, Allah said, قُلْ أَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَكْفُرُونَ بِالَّذِي خَلَقَ الْأَرْضَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ وَتَجْعَلُونَ لَهُ أَنْدَادًا ذَلِكَ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. In Surah Al-A'raf. Do you verily disbelieve in him who created the earth in 2 days? That's 2 days for the earth. But then in another, this verse mentions 2 days. But then in another verse, it mentions وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ مِنْ فَوْقِهَا وَبَارَكَ فِيهَا وَقَدَّرَ فِيهَا أَقْوَاتَهَا فِي 4 أَيَّامٍ سَوَاءً لِلسَّائِلِينَ. Surat Fussilat, it mentions 4 days. He placed in the earth mountains from above it and blessed it and measured it in sustenance for us, for the dwellers on this earth, in 4 equal days. So he said in 4 days, 2 days for the creation of the earth and 2 days for placing the mountains and what's in Surat Fussilat, for a total of 4 days. Some take the verse in Surat Fussilat, in Surat Al-A'raf, and say it states 2 days, which it does. Then take the verse in Surat Fussilat that I mentioned, which states 4 days. Then they say 6 days total. They add them together. And then they add 2 more for the heavens. No, the earth is a total of 4 days, not 2 plus 4. A total of 4. 6 days starts on Sunday and the last of the day is Friday. And it seems and it's apparent, as some of the Mufassirin said, that these are normal days like our days because he left it open. He didn't specify days of Allah's days, so it's regular days. Allah created these tremendous entities in 6 days. And if he wished, he could have created them in a single moment, in less than that even. But instead of doing that, his wisdom, he connected the effects to their causes. And that's from the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we don't ask, we can't ask him about. He could have said be once and it's done. And it comes into existence as he wills and how he wills and when he wills. There's nothing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he can do. But there's great wisdom in the 6 days, in creating it in 6 days. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, like I said, he can't be questioned about what he does. While we get questioned, as in Surah Al-Anbiya, لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. Some scholars have attempted to explain the reason as to the wisdom behind the heavens and the earth being created in 6 days. And among those, for example, is Al-Qurtubi, rahimahullah. He said in his tafsir, he gave some reasons, 3 main reasons. The first one is to teach his slaves kindness and deliberation in their affairs. That was the first reason. The second reason, he said, to manifest his power to the angels step by step. And his third reason is because Allah has decreed a course for everything. Everything has an appointed time. For example, he delays the punishment of the sinners where he could punish them right now, on the spot, on the spur of the moment. But he delays it because everything has an appointed time with him. He created them, therefore, over time. That's Al-Qurtubi's opinions. But then you got, for example, Ibn al-Jawzi spoke about it in his tafsir, Zad al-Masir. He gave approximately 5 answers. He said Allah wanted to create something each day to show his power to his angels and those who witnessed it. And he attributed to Ibn al-Anbari. He said that's the opinion of Ibn al-Anbari, of the wisdom behind it. Then he said also a second reason, he was preparing things for Adam and his offspring before he created Adam, to emphasize Adam's high standing before the angels. So it's to emphasize the high honor of Adam to the angels. The third reason, he says, when you do things in a short time, it's more indicative of power. And when you do things in deliberation over time, it's indicative of wisdom. And Allah wanted to manifest his wisdom in that, just as he manifested his power in it. Another reason he gives is to teach us patience and deliberation. How? He taught deliberation to his slaves through that, through the 6 days. Because if the one who does not make mistakes created the universe in a deliberate manner, then those who are vulnerable like us to making mistakes should do things in a deliberate manner as well. And the final reason he mentions is that the creation was accomplished step by step so that no one will think that this happened as a result of an accident or attribute it to nature. Al-Qadi Abu Saud, he put it more simpler than the previous two, and I very much like what he said. He said it's clear that Allah has absolute power. He has ultimate power. He has ultimate will, and he has perfect control. And he has wise reasons for everything that he creates. And no one knows the reasons but him for the things that he created. And just like he has wise reasons for everything he creates, he also has wise reason for creating the heavens and the earth in 6 days, when he is able to have created them simply by be, and it would have been done by kun fayakun. And I like that explanation very much. The next part of the verse, إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش. Then he ascended upon the throne. ثم استوى على العرش. That he, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ascended upon the throne in a manner befitting him. Now the arsh is not the kursi. Kursi is the footstool. Arsh is the throne of Allah. Arsh is the throne of Allah, and the arsh is the ceiling of all the creations. There's no creation above the arsh of Allah. Creation. يغشي الليل النهار. يغشي الليل النهار. He causes the night to cover the day which follows it in haste. He causes the night to cover the day which it follows it with haste. So that is like a garment, more like a garment. It descends upon the light of the day and covers it. And that brings the nighttime. يطلبه يطلبه حثيثا. He causes the night, the night covers the day, which follows in haste. Meaning, follows in haste mean each one seeks the other. والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. The sun, the moon and the stars are all subservient and subject to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He made the sun, the moon, the stars subservient to His command. He commands them as He wills for the benefit of us, the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. The tail of the verse is certainly creation and commandment are for Allah alone. ألا حرف تنبيه. ألا is called a word in grammar, word of notification, حرف تنبيه. ألا له الخلق. To Allah belongs creation, matters that are kawniyya, like we spoke about kawniyya, you already know that. Wal amr, to Allah belongs amr, means commandment, matters of shar'iyya. Matters of shar'iyya. So to Allah belongs the creation, which is kawniyya, and commandment, which is shar'iyya. The first one's kawniyya, the second one is shar'iyya. We spoke on what kawniyya and shar'iyya is, and if you don't know it, refer to, I think it was 2 classes ago or so. Tabarakallahu Rabbul Alameen. Exalted is Allah, the Lord of all the creation, the universe. In Alameen, like we said, is everything outside, other than Allah. That's His sovereignty. It comprehends everything. And His kingship is perfect. That's the creation and commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that means your worship should go back to Him.